Star Wars Republic Commando. We're on Xbox Series X, so we get the boosted resolution here. We get auto HDR support, which looks really great. And of course, the improved FPS, of course, which is just mostly expected from these titles where everything's running quite smoothly. So anyways, this is a very interesting and I think fairly well loved Star Wars title. You've got your squad here, your sort of tougher, interesting clone troopers. You've all got unique abilities, and you've all got different kind of skills, and you work together as a team in order to tackle situations and battle off one another in order to get the job done. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting Star Wars title in terms of the design, the focus of it, and generally the situations that you tackle within this title, because it is something that I think is a little bit different in terms of what you're doing and the types of missions that you are taking part in. So this is kind of like fairly close to being near the start of the experience. You get a good kind of idea of how the characters move, the gist of what you're doing, and the style of play that's present here. It's really quite interesting. Continue without hints. I think you're gonna have to continue with hints because I'm so old. Or so old. This game is so old and I've forgotten things. Can I actually... Okay, there we go. Sorry, because I was like, we don't have the light button anymore on the Xbox controller. I don't know if people are familiar with the OG Xbox controller back in the day, but it had these like two kind of side buttons, I guess you could say, on them. I mean, if you're from that era, you're probably like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, this is definitely, something of its time. I think that's kind of fun. Get the job done. But yeah, it's kind of a neat narrative-driven adventure where you're jumping to this unique perspective when it comes to your squad and the type of situation that you're in. Being an interesting shooter, while also... Get out of there, man. While also having some neat mechanics to it in regards to the, sort of combat that you're doing, the choice of squad-based movement, and I also know that this is generally a very well-loved situation in regards to, people enjoying this game and looking back upon it fondly, and also wanting to see, I guess you could say, more from the Republic Commandos, just because we haven't really seen too much of them, in modern times. But at the same time, yeah, it's kind of cool. It plays quite well, I gotta be honest with you. I still think it looks visually fairly impressive for its era, I suppose you could say, in terms of how well it holds up with this boost and the type of game it is, and just also the combat and everything. I mean, it's fairly linear in design, but I do think the story might be something that people find a little bit interesting, because I always like these different looks at the Star Wars universe, not necessarily the typical ones that we're really used to when we, jump into any of the like franchise titles, or really the games themselves, can feel relatively similar in terms of what you're doing, the roles you're taking on, whereas this one, you're just kind of these tougher, I want to say battle-hardened, unique specialist troops. Oh, and the loading is way faster too, just in regards to getting stuff done. Oh, looks like the squad's all ready to go. We've got our team here, and are ready to battle. Let's grab this stuff. But yeah, it's very tactical in nature, very unique in its design. Oh, looks like we've got a bad guy. Yeah, it looks like we're raiding in there. But you get like an element of choice in how you tackle situations, how you handle cooperative situations and setups, because you get to really command your little group of, clones, right? Your troopers. A super battle droid. And it's cool because you get to take on all of these different, characters and stuff that you might be familiar with from the previous Star Wars series, which is kind of nice. It's definitely a fun kind of game, and still holds up, I think, fairly well in terms of the value it provides, and also a little bit of the nostalgia element that I think a decent amount of people that would be looking into this one might have for it all these years later. Down you go. Uh-oh. Take out the battle droid. Uh-oh. I'm hurt. This is not good. Trooper down. Yes, yes, yes. Recall and revive. Maintain objective orders. Come and get me, guys. Are they breaching the door even though I'm dead? Well, that's not very helpful. We might have to reload the last save here. Maintain current objectives. I can't really tell what they're doing. Create and assign the sniper maneuver? No, come and get my ass. Or is that not accepted right now? Is that a teammate? Oh, it's a bro. Thank you. That one of you was able to come back and give me a hand here, whereas the others kind of just straight up left me for dead, which is kind of funny. Yeah, it's just neat that you get like a little bit of side freedom, I guess, too, in terms of what you're doing. But definitely an interesting sort of title, because you still don't really see, I guess you could say, Star Wars games that are quite like this today, which I suppose might also be a little bit disappointing. We're definitely getting some more options, and they're seemingly... Oh, wow. Field back to... I guess I should have been applying that. We could restart the level. Or we could load the last save, which takes 2 seconds. Yeah, it is kind of nice how quick games load nowadays. It really is just like an instant situation. But you know, you got the sounds, you got the style. This really was a great era in Star Wars games. We were getting so many different options. And you know, it was a real treat back then. Oh, I thought we would. I've got a bad feeling about this, guys. But I hope I'm not spoiling anything story-wise. I really don't think that this does. It just should kind of give you an idea of how everything's running, how it's looking, with textures that mostly do hold up quite well. I mean, not everything does, but for the most part, yeah, it's a pretty clean-cut experience. Look, we actually shoot stuff up. Come on, squad. I don't think that the UI really holds up the best in terms of, like, you know, it looks a little bit more aged because it's a little bit less clear and clean in comparison to other parts of the visuals. But then again, I don't think they ever imagined that it would be running at this sort of like visual quality, so I think that's really quite interesting. It's got a shield too. This thing's way tougher than I remember it being. Come on, guys, get it done. Unbelievable. But I think overall as an experience, it's kind of fascinating and sort of one that still would be worth checking out today if you've, you know, never given it a whirl before. I think it's kind of unique, and the squad-based tactical play of choosing how your team's sort of going into things, I think is sort of fun. Obviously, with there being, you know, a little bit more progressional options as you go along in the game. And battling these different guys. Pew 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 pew. And I love this, like, battle on the planet. Like, it's clearly, you know, small in scale in terms of what we're doing, but it's also trying to give you a feeling of, like, hey, this is a large-scale environment, too. It's not just something that's small. You want to feel like you're part of this, like, bigger environment and everything like that. Oh, there they go. That's what I'm talking about. And the camaraderie. Very, very well done. Good job, team. Everybody's coming together in a very powerful squad. It was a big moment for us as a team. We definitely came together for battle. I love these weird random loading things that pop up too to kind of get you into different areas. I think that's sort of humorous to me, just it kind of like jumps along and it's like all of a sudden you're in a new area. But I like the gritty custom look, because I think even at the time, a lot of clone troopers were very much specifically designed. You know, we had ones for different types of climates and situations, but we didn't really have like a very personal group like this, because clones just weren't really meant to be like that. And I know since then, you know, in the shows and the expanded media, we've gotten much, much better, you know, showcases of the different clones and what they can do in terms of being different individuals. Like, they're not just all one sort of character, if that makes sense. And I think that's kind of great too, because you're not just, you know, having these individual, like, you're not just having clone troopers. Some of them actually do have certain, I don't know, they're a bit more personal than I think the movies kind of made them out to be. And it's only through the expanded content that we've really seen that they do actually have little bits of self-identity, I guess you could say, while still being a collective. Oh, actually, I remember this level from back in the day, as interesting as that sounds. I'm remembering my friend playing this one, specifically this part here. Getting some flashback things. Although it could just be some random deja vu, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's a pretty neat game. It's definitely something a little bit different. If you're looking for a little bit of a different Star Wars experience, I think this one hits the mark as being something unique for its time, and still being something that is rather fun and different to play. And it handles and looks quite good here. I really am still genuinely surprised by what we're able to get from these older titles. And I think it's sort of wonderful that the experience is still something that people can enjoy years later across all these dark situations that you, as this Commando squad, are sent in to really deal with, you know, kind of the intense situations, the tougher tasks, and you'll need to work together to be effective in order to handle these situations and obviously survive and get the job done. Pew, 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 pew. Yep, getting the bigger guns.